Hello, my name is Ray with the Volusia County Public Library, and today in this video we're going to learn how to make a gluten-free deep dish pizza. It's a favorite in our household. It's great if you have people that have celiac disease or are gluten intolerant or gluten sensitive, because there's absolutely no wheat flour in it, and it's really a pretty simple recipe to make, and we're going to walk through that today. And so the first thing that you're going to want to do is assemble your ingredients for the dough, and you're going to want to have an extra bowl to mix this in. And today we're going to be using 1 cup of brown rice flour. Into the mixing bowl that goes. You're going to use 1/2 cup of potato starch. Into the mixing bowl it goes. You're going to use 1/4 cup of tapioca flour. And then you're going to use 2 tablespoons of teff flour. So you're going to put that into a mixing bowl. You're going to get your whisk out and you're going to blend that to combine. And what you want to do is make sure you break up the potato starch that's in there, because that kind of clumps up. And you're just looking for a good consistent mixture through it. And we're just about there. So it's going to look a little bit like that. And then you're going to add the rest of your dry ingredients. And so into this flour mixture that you've made, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Into the mixing bowl that goes. You will add 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. And then the final dry ingredient is your 1 teaspoon of yeast. So all of that goes into the bowl. You mix it up. And so we've got a really nice blend here, a good start to our gluten-free pizza dough. Now comes the wet ingredients. So into this you're going to add 1/2 cup of warm water, really warm tap water. That goes in. You're going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar into the bowl. You are going to add 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. 1 and 2. You're going to want to set that olive oil aside because you're going to need it in a couple minutes. And then the final ingredient that goes into this, that's a wet ingredient, kind of unusual. I have pre-whipped them, but you are going to whip 3 egg whites to soft peaks, and you're going to add that in to this dough. I know it kind of sounds odd, but it really does make a difference. So once you've got all your wet ingredients in, you just kind of mix it together. And it's going to look a lot like a sloppy mess when you first start. But you just kind of keep pulling that dry in from the edges into the wet. And I will warn you that this is a very sticky dough. So you want to make sure that you have your area covered, like we do here with a tablecloth. And when it comes together, your dough will look like this. And what you're going to want to do is set this off to the side, and you're going to want to allow it to rise. But before you do that, you're going to want to take a little bit of your olive oil, and you're going to want to spread it over the top. And if you've got a brush, it makes life a lot easier. Kind of brush over the top. What you're trying to do is keep that dough from drying out on the top and getting a skin on it. And then you're going to set this somewhere warm off to the side, and you're going to give it about a half hour, 45 minutes, and it's going to rise. It's going to give time for that yeast to activate and do its work. And when you get to that, I've already pre-made some dough, and this is what the finished dough looks like. So the yeast has had time to work its magic with the sugar and the flours that are in there, And now we're ready to make some pizza. I said it was a deep dish, so I use small cake plates here. You can use a big one if you want to serve the family. If you want to do individual size, that's what I do at home, is the individual size. First step you're going to want to do is take about a tablespoon of that olive oil that I mentioned before into the bottom of that dish. This is a 6-inch cake plate that we're using. If you've got that brush, good time to pull it out. You're going to want to cover the bottom and the sides with that olive oil, because remember, that dough sticks. And so we are going to cover that up. We're good there. You're going to want to cut a piece of parchment to set down at the bottom to make it easier to get that pizza out. And then you're going to want to take a little bit more, about another tablespoon, and pour that over the top of the parchment. And you're going to want to smooth that out in there so everything is covered and ready to go. And then you're going to take your dough and into the pan it goes. I suggest you put a little bit of olive oil on your fingers because, again, sticky dough. And you're going to press that dough out and around so that it can cover the bottom of the cake plate. And so when you get done with that particular step, this is what it looks like. You're going to put that into a 425-degree oven, and you're going to do a little bit of baking before you top it. You want to give the dough a chance to cook before you're putting your toppings on. So into the oven it goes, about 8 minutes. And when you've baked it for 8 minutes, I've pre-baked one, this is what you end up with. We're not done yet. You're going to want to put your toppings on. We're going to make a classic Margarita pizza today, so you're going to take a little bit of your favorite pizza sauce, a couple tablespoons, or however much you like, onto the bottom of this. Cover that crust up. So we're good there. A couple of hunks of mozzarella cheese are going to go on there. Be a great addition to our pizza. A few basil leaves fresh out of the garden. And then we are going to put a little drizzle of olive oil on the top. So get that tablespoon back out and just give a really light drizzle across the top there. Other secret ingredient that I like to add, just a little bit of salt on the top of that. We're going to put that back into a 425-degree oven and let it bake. So it's been 10 minutes. I took a peek in the oven and I noticed that it is done. So I'm going to pull this out of the oven, very warm. What I like to do is take a knife and run it around the edges to try and free that pizza up from the pan itself. Once it's freed up, you can use your spatula to get underneath it, kind of loosen it up, and then it's pretty easy now to cut with a knife into those traditional pizza style slices. Now comes the best part. You get to try it. It's a really good pizza. So if you've liked this video, we encourage you to stop on in and check out some gluten-free pizza recipes or other gluten-free recipes at your local branch of the Volusia County Public Library, or check out our other videos that are up on our YouTube page. Thank you.